Hi, my name is Nicole Ross, and this is my course project for the Warming Planet Understanding Climate Change. Climate change and global warming, a unique occurrence, a blanket statement to cover the entire planet with many subtopics on factors and effects. From landscapes to time periods in human development, the planet has undeniably changed since the beginning of its existence. Forcing agents to influences and weathers to proxies and research, prediction of the future of the Earth can be found within its own history. Forcing agents. Two forcing agents that I chose to focus on are tropospheric ozone and aerosols. Tropospheric ozone is a lesser thought of forcing agent. I chose this one because it was not once a concern, but is a growing concern to say the least. The NO sub X is found in lightning and in the soil, and traces are enough to permit the larger ozone change. It is found to probably be in the range of 0.4 to 0.8 W per meter squared. It is found that the main ingredient of smog. It is harmful to human health as well as ecosystems. This forcing agent has many side effects. There's not direct emission sources formed from and by the actions of sunlight with hydrocarbons emitted by vehicles, fossil fuel power plants, along with other man-made sources. Aerosols are estimated to have masked about 50% of the warming that would otherwise have been caused by greenhouse gases trapping heat near the surface of the Earth. Between the US and Europe, they have developed and successfully used sulfur dioxide scrubbers in power plants to reduce these emissions. With an increase in aerosols, there is a direct link to decrease in rainfall, which is very intriguing. This is most prevalent in China, India, and negatively impacts their produce production. Forcing agents in North Carolina, I chose to focus on the same two. The NC Division of Air Quality monitors the ozone issues, daily air quality forecast, cars, power plants, refineries, chemical plants, as well as other sources that emit the VCOs and NOx. Charlotte said that the Triangle of North Carolina has produced our highly populated areas with heavy car usage and vehicles, though the aftermath and side effects of sources are seen in high elevations, such as the Blue Ridge and the Smoky Mountains. There is a great concern for human health and all living and non-living organisms. For aerosols in North Carolina, some aerosols can encourage cloud and fog droplet growth. Aerosols can make cloud droplets smaller by spreading out the water vapor between many particles. With the release of silver iodide particles into cloud forming, this can increase the rainfall. However, due to many particles or the wrong type of cloud formation, this can reduce the chance of rain. This is detrimental, especially right by the East Coast where oceans and beaches line the state. The historical context of climate. The Carboniferous rainforest collapse. It was a warm and humid climate, providing the perfect climate for rich vegetation and diverse variety of species. However, it came to a quick fall when the climate became extremely dry in a quick period of time, which caused the mass extinction of dominant species of plant life, and in turn led to the downfall of the rainforest. The shift in climate was due to a time of being in between glacial and interglacial time periods, with ice sheets and glaciers closer to the equator melting. This is somewhat of a similar climate to what is experienced nowadays. The snowball Earth has been studied through glaciers and ice sheets 700 to 600 million years ago. The snowball ice sheets would have flowed from the continents out into the ocean, covering the planet in ice and snow. This led to mass extinction of plants and other living organisms. The oceans as a whole did not freeze over. Though beneath the floating ice shelf, a dark, briny ocean continually stirred by tides and turbulence generated a geothermal heat slowly entering from the ocean floor. It is thought of that the continents were at a minimum extremely close together, with precipitation causing extreme weathering of crustaceous rock, leading to an increase in consumption of carbon dioxide, leading to less carbon dioxide in the air and in the atmosphere, cooling the planet and creating a cooler climate altogether. The increases in global temperature. Earth's climate has been fairly balanced for thousands of years. However, human activity spiking during the Industrial Revolution did change the amount of carbon emissions. With higher carbon dioxide concentrations come expectations of a stronger greenhouse gas effect. Therefore, warmer global temperatures. The solar heat warms the water even more and melts the surrounding ice. This is considered a positive feedback loop. Ocean acidification is climate change. Currently, as a whole, the global average annual temperature is increasing. As the oceans warm, seawaters expand, and sea levels rise. Melting ice adds more water to the ocean, further raising the sea level along much of the Atlantic coast. Land surface is sinking, more wetlands are prevalent, lower dry lands are diminishing, and shores are eroding. Carbon dioxide reacts with the water to form carbonic acid, so the oceans are becoming more acidic, affecting the planet and animal life of the oceans in a negative way. The Marion Station, which is found in South Carolina, not too far from where I'm located in North Carolina, has a lower reported R-squared than the average R-squared across the lower 48 U.S. states. Its R-squared is 0.074. However, it is a positive increase, and the line of best fit does show increase. There are definitely some outliers within the graph. However, as the years continue, the more present low temperatures are comparable to the medium and high temperatures from 100 years ago. The socioeconomic impact of sea level rising, the sea levels have risen up to 11 inches higher than it was in 1950. This increase is most likely due to the ice melting and is causing major issues. There is limited amount of simple solutions due to the state's low elevation. Drainage systems as well as unpredictable flooding will cause extensive financial distraught for repairs of businesses as well as homes and public infrastructure. North Carolina has identified over $300 million in long-term improvements to reduce the flooding, especially on Highway 12. This project will double to $700 million for beach nourishment. The cost of beach nourishment for just 14 miles of the beach would be over $1.6 billion. The agricultural sector is likely to experience uneven impacts throughout the country. Initial economic gains from altered growing conditions will likely be lost as temperatures continue to rise. Regional drought, water shortages, as well as excess precipitation and a spread of pests and diseases will negatively impact most regions. Climate changes bring inconsistent droughts. These droughts, as well as heavy rainfall, makes for poor farming conditions. Poor farming conditions lead to a lack of production, therefore a lack of profit, and the industry is of minimal use. North Carolina's top produce is soybeans, corn, and tobacco, all multi-use products that are crucial for everyday life. Future outlook for the area. The coast's outline has already taken on a new shape with sea levels rising. Roads are constantly being destroyed and having to be rebuilt. However, it leaves many with the feeling of not being on the correct path. For roughly over the past 50 years or so, companies have been using bulldozers and dump trucks and dredges to hold the coastline in its place. It is just a temporary fix to buy time, though. On the environmental side, the issue of rising sea levels mean there could be a potential for a loss of habitat for birds and sea turtles. There is no uniform fix. Every area is struggling and facing its own different issues from different consequences of climate change, may it be harsher storms, flooding, sea levels rising, or drought. Looking for a contractor now to help make a plan for making the sound slide, for the island is more resilient. They're also working on plans for how to deal with the septic issues with rising groundwater. For long-term solutions to sea level rise, towns along the ocean and on the sound side have limited options. Many of these solutions are not considered solutions, they are temporary fixes. It is considered curbing the solution. That needs constant upkeep and costs a lot financially and uses a lot of manpower. The effects of sea levels rising are not only seen along the coast, but the factors trickle through the major waterways and river systems throughout the state. Floods and droughts. For regional environmental influence, climate change may result in water shortages due to coastal flooding as well as saltwater contamination of freshwater supply. The likelihood of water shortages due to higher temperatures and increased evaporation increases as well. On the other hand, there's an increased drought severity, and the probability of heavy precipitation could increase runoff and flooding, since drier soils, especially in the areas of North Carolina with hard sand-like foundation, do not absorb water so readily. Climate change causes droughts, flooding, does not only affect the environment, but also affects human health as well as infrastructure and land mapping as a few examples. Severe stormings are a rising issue, and hurricanes could affect North Carolina forests as well as the forest-related industries. Category 3 storm damages approximated 8.3 million acres of state forest land at a total estimated cost to repair of $1.7 billion. Climate change may heavily affect the forestry sector by undermining important economic engines such as construction and manufacturing. With climate change predicted to increase hurricane activity and intensity based off of modeling, North Carolina is likely predicted to see an increase of losses due to these severe storms. The tourism industry could be affected by higher sea levels and more intense hurricane activity, with a reduction in interest in the area, as well as an increase in beach erosion. Possible mitigation and geoengineering actions. After a handful of case studies, findings show that the majority of agroforestry practices are profitable. The importance of agroforestry is a result of validation from the monoculture of agriculture threat on soil fertility, the acknowledgement of a lack of knowledge on a variety of produce, as well as the cost of labor and technology for the varieties of produce are a worry. However, companies are already working on multifunctional technologies and advancements to lessen the cost load on farmers. The process of enhanced weathering does carry a substantial efficiency. However, the need for other processings will still be valid. The processing time can be cut down to just 2 years by grinding silicate rocks into fine powder. The process can also increase the vital nutrients found within the produce. This process has the potential to remove approximately 2 billion tons of carbon dioxide a year. The reversal of climate change is impossible, and as humans, we cannot undo what we have already done. Using advanced technology with information from Earth's surfaces, prevention and knowledge of when large impactful events will occur is extremely beneficial to saving our planet and lives of all sorts. Climate change is inevitable. However, through the implementation of geoengineering climate mitigation techniques to reduce the harmful substances that exponentially increase climate change, the damage can be slowed down.